All right, guys, in today's video, we're talking about something I wish I knew about way sooner in my golfing career, and that's wrist angles. Now, if you're like me when you go play, listen, I want to hit the ball solid day in and day out. I want a pretty simple swing thought and swing feel, if anything at all, but something that I can count on and rely on when I go play. And in today's video, I'm going to show you what that feel has been for me, some things and a drill in particular I've been working with recently with our students, and it's all about wrist angles. It's something you can change in your swing that's very small or minor that has a massive impact, and you can improve your ball striking really quickly with it. So I want to make sure I show you this. Let's go ahead and dive in. We're going to partner with Lab Golf, and I wanted to try these putters out on the golf course and literally putted the best that I have in my entire life. I've been seeing the ball go in the hole for the first time in a long time. I'm freaking confident on the greens for the first time in a long time. The game's a lot more fun, and I didn't change anything. I've been practicing more. I didn't change my stroke. I literally just changed putters. That is so exciting for me. We're going to partner with Lab Golf and Sam as a thank you to them, and hopefully to get you one of these in your bag as well, maybe for a holiday, Christmas gift, something along those lines. It's an investment, right? They're not cheap, but with the 10% off code and with how long I think you're going to use these, I think the value is really high. I'm sure you spend a lot of money on drivers and things like that are expensive too. But I'm gonna plan on using these for the next like 10 years. So when you do the math that way, I think it's a freaking steal. And you wanna putt better and you're looking for a putter. I've never used a putter that's this good ever in my life. And I know that you're gonna love it as well. Lab Golf will be in the description down below. Use code Cogorno, get 10% off. I hope that you'll try one and that you'll be as excited about your putting and your game as I am about mine. So when I was growing up golfing, right, there's about 1,000 things in the golf swing, and certainly I thought about probably all of those 1,000. But one of the key pieces is the wrist angles. And when I was thinking about wrist angles when I was growing up, it was all for me about the up and down motion of the wrists. I was concerned with how much should I hinge and unhinge my wrists. When in fact, looking back upon it, and for a lot of my students now, I think instead of us focusing on the up and down wrist motion so much, if we focus more on the back and forth wrist motion, we would get a lot more bang for our buck. It's a minor thing we can change that can have immediate and massive improvements in our ball striking, the back and forth. So I want you to just hold your hands in front of you. You can make a little fist like this with both your hands. You can start in a fairly neutral position. Now what I want you to feel is both of your hands working away from the target. This is the back and forth motion, the back motion. Now going from a neutral position to working away from the target is the key move we all need in our swing. And in fact, I'm going to suggest for you that you feel this during the backswing, that you feel this in transition, and you feel this about all the way down through impact. I'm going to show you how to do that in a moment. Less of the up and down, more of the back and forth. 80-20 rule here is true. I would say 80% of the importance is the back and forth. Okay, now what does that control? Well, the back and forth motion of the wrist really controls three important variables. Number one, it helps close the club face. Number two, it helps shallow the shaft and swing from inside. And number three, it helps us get shaft lean at impact. So how does that sound? Close the club face, shallow the shaft, and get shaft lean and impact. And I'm going to show you how that works in a moment. And we can get all three of those by just doing this wrist motion. So at the most basic level, I did this with a recent student of mine, we just did that. Hold your hands up in front, make a fist, and make them both go away. Feel that during the backswing, feel that in transition, feel that through impact, okay? Now the drill that we did, and this is a little bit of a different drill that I've been doing. I did some filming with Rick Smith down in Miami. He used to work with Phil Mickelson, and we did a video about a cross hand grip, okay, to feel this. And to be honest, you know, I've been teaching for 15 years, playing for 20 plus. I haven't really spent a lot of time doing cross hand, but in the past month or so, I've been doing this a lot for my own swing and with some of my students, and it's helped a lot. So I want you to try this here with me to feel this. The goal of this cross hand drill is to help feel the wrist motions, the back away motion, okay? So if you take your normal grip, right, my trail hand is below my lead hand on the grip. This would be traditional. I want you to crisscross those, right? So the left hand or lead hand is going to go underneath the trail hand like this. Now during the backswing, I want you to feel this back away from the target motion, okay? So what I like about this cross hand grip is it helps me feel that. I'm going to feel it right away and all the way to the top. And what I really feel when I do this, it's easier for me to feel that lead wrist bending back and away. It's easier, really helps me feel the trail wrist bent back. I want to feel that to the top. I'm going to feel that in transition. Really can feel that trail wrist bent back. And I want to feel that at impact, okay? Now, when I do this, before we get back to the drill, if I take my normal grip, when I do this motion, even if I just hold it up here in front of us, right? If I took a normal grip with my lead wrist having slight extension there and the face is square, watch when I do that motion, what happens to the club face. Does that open or close? So if you take your lead wrist from a normal position and bend it back, bend your wrist away from the target, what that does to the club face is it closes it. But you can see how the toe is now more in front of the heel. Also notice when I do that, where's the club head go relative to my hands? Farther back, right? If I can get back here without tripping, all of a sudden that same motion gives me what? Gives me that shaft lean. So just doing the wrist angles closes the face. And look at how it gets the club head way more behind my hands for the shaft lean. But when I do that in transition as well, watch what happens to the shaft. That helps shallow it. So the wrist angles help square the club face, help shallow the shaft, and give me that shaft lean at impact. So you could start with just that before we get back to the split hand grip. Like when I was working with my student, we talked about this for like 15, 20 minutes, right? Back and forth, not just me talking at him. And we answered questions, went back and forth, said, hey, let's just feel that. He said, Eric, when am I supposed to feel that during the backswing? And I said, we can do it whenever we want. I really just want to get to that position at the top where the lead wrist is pretty flat, the trail wrist is pretty bent back. Some players do it right away in the takeaway. Some players do it a little bit later on. I say we just feel it the whole way on the way back. But I said, that's probably not going to be enough, okay? We also going to have to feel it in transition and feel it down through impact. So we hit a couple shots just with that general concept. Feel the wrist angles, bending back on the way back, down and through. And if that does what I said it does, which is close the club face, shallow the shaft, and give us more shaft lean, what sort of impact should that have on your ball striking when you do this? Well, if I close the club face to the path, that's going to help me hit the ball pretty straight. It's going to reduce the amount of right shots. If it helps me shallow the shaft, that's going to get me swinging from inside. Again, solid contact, pretty solid ball flight, pretty straight. And then the shaft lean in particular, when I'm taking some of the loft off, should have a piercing ball flight, very compressed, solid, maybe even a touch lower than normal. So we hit a couple shots like that, and I just had him feel this: wrists away, wrists away, wrists away. Now back to me in my golf, my first 10 years, guess what I was doing? Wrists up, wrists down, wrists up, wrists down. I wasn't focused on away and towards at all, just never thought about it. And when I'm thinking about the wrist going up and down so much, see what happens to my wrist angles right away. When I add too much hinging, I get a big cup here. Big cup means the opposite of all the good stuff we said. Open club face, steep shaft, no shaft lean. Not good for me. I wish earlier on I would have focused on these wrist angles, and I want to make sure that you do as well. So about 20 minutes in, we hit some shots. He was liking the contact improvement, right? The lesson started, he said, Eric, I want to hit the ball more solid. I want a simple feel that has big impact. After we did about 20 of those, we did the split hand, or the reverse hand grip, I'm sorry. So we took the lead hand lower, same feels. Now he was really feeling, he felt the lead wrist bending back a little bit, but he was really feeling the trail wrist bent back. I said, do it more in transition and do it more in impact. And so we did a couple rehearsals just like that. This is what I want you to do, something like an 8-iron here. Feel the wrist angles away, feel them come down, and feel how good that delivery position feels. The lead wrist is bowed, the trail wrist is bent back, my trail elbow's nicely in front, the club's in a good spot to deliver an impact, and you can feel a massive amount of shaft lean there. Now, again, this is a newer thing for me. I haven't, done this for a long time. I haven't tried hitting balls with it. It's just a rehearsal feel. So we would do 1 or 2 rehearsals, put our normal grip on, say, okay, can I feel those same things? And the answer for me, been doing this in my own swing, and the students is yes. Okay, so 1 or 2 rehearsals, get a feel. Let's bring that back into our normal hit and feel the same thing. So same sort of wrist angles, just like I had a split hand grip. And I should hit pretty much like that. It's probably a 2 or 3 yard draw, maybe 10 feet left of the target, very solid contact. Can I have a simple feel that I could go play golf with that gives me consistent solid contact that I can repeat day after day? Do I want a million swing thoughts? Do you want a million swing thoughts? No, but you could probably be okay with one, right? I could be okay with one that gets me that good ball flight. So we did that for a little bit. Again, split hand grip. Feel the wrist work away. It's just so easy for me to feel when I do this drill, both of them, but especially the trail hand grip. And when you're feeling this, you can feel this with your lead hand or your trail hand when you do that, but one or two with the split hand grip. Two quick things here. Number one, this move is a little bit grip dependent. Okay, I'm assuming just you have a stock neutral grip at setup, which would mean you would do a normal amount of this to the top and down through impact. The weaker your grip is, turned counterclockwise, the more you'd have to do these moves to square the face, shallow the shaft, etc. The stronger your grip is, turned clockwise here like this, the less you need to do these to square your club face. Just keep that in mind. It's a little bit grip dependent. The second thing that comes up is, hey, at what point do I not need to do this anymore? Most golfers that I see end up having too much of the forward wrist motion, too much throwing too soon. So probably 8 or 9 out of 10 times, I would say, hey, feel that on the way back, feel that in transition, and keep feeling it through impact. Of course, the club needs to throw out here in front, but if you're used to throwing too soon, don't be shy about doing that all the way through the impact zone, and you can use your ball flight as a little bit of feedback there. Let's go ahead and hit with that. And the same thing, so very straight ball flight, maybe a 1-yard draw, solid, consistent contact. So listen, wrist angles, lots of drills. Okay, you search on our channel, you're gonna see a lot of wrist angle videos. A lot of ways to do it. This split hand grip, honestly, for me is newer. Okay, I've only been doing it for a little bit, but the results have been really good. The point being, 80% of the importance of the wrist angles is the back and forward motion, not the up and down. I spent a long time on up and down, didn't do a lot for me. The back and forth, immediate differences. It closes the club face, shallows the shaft, and gives you shaft lean. So if you need any of those three, if you want a simple feel that can have a massive impact, do the wrist angles, try this reverse grip, and leave me a comment down below after you've tried it once or twice, or just do it at home quick. Let me know how that feels, because if it works for all of us, I'll start doing this more with all of our students. Appreciate you watching as always. Leave me a comment down below.